Howdy everybody, old Gary out here at the Fishing Shack, and welcome to this week's Fishing Chums Fishing Report and Show. Got a good show for you today, and can you believe this is the last weekend of August? Wow! My gosh, it's been August weather this week too, earlier in midweek. Really hot, wasn't it? Yikes. You know, last week I thought the fishing reports were down a little bit. This week they kind of come back up, and we're going to be featuring Truman Lake today. My golly, they're catching some big quality fish out there. Nice crappie and good numbers and limits. We'll be talking about that during the Truman segment of the fishing tournament. And we've had good reports out at Beaver Lake. Boy, they're catching stripers out there. Below the dam, trout. Ooh, that's a good spot to be this upcoming weekend as well. So we have a good show for you. Want to thank you all for last week. We had around 20,000 views. God bless you. Good going, chummers. Good going. Keep spreading the word and sharing the programs. Really appreciate it. Going to do something different to start with. You know, first of all, I want to remind you that Kathy and I at the end of the program have selected some great photos, some kid stuff, and you chummers on our fishing photo rolls. So that's the end of the program. Be sure to stick around. All right, going to start something new here. We're going out to Roaring River. You bet, Roaring River, great river. Man, they catch a lot of trout out there. And I was sent this photo and I said, well, why not? Why not Roaring River? We'll have Roaring River on occasion. Look at this beautiful trout caught out there just a few days ago. Good going, the Roaring River group. Love that group. Let's go out to Beaver Lake. You know, I've had mixed reports on the surface temperature. I've heard it like 81 or 82. This afternoon when I got my report, it was like 84. So it's in the low 80s to mid 80s. That's not bad for the last week of August, that's for sure. You know, a tip of the hat to Hooked On Fishing Guide Service. Boy, these guides, I tell you what, they go out every morning, at least a couple of boats of them, and they really get their people in the fish. Every day it seems like I get photos from Hooked On Fishing Guide Service. And look at this photo just a couple days ago. They were out in the morning, and look at these happy faces and that floor full of stripers. Wow, that's good. And also look at this follow-up photo. Look at this big striper. Yikes, that will get your fever up. And they have really been catching some stripers out at Beaver on the main lake. And I understand down at the lower end points, and they're getting out there with some live bait and vertically fishing. And man, these guys get their people in the fish. So a tip of the hat to Hooked On Fishing Guide Service. Great striper fishing out there. And my old buddy Richard Lee Rusher was out last night or night before or yesterday, whatever. And he always catches fish. Look at this beautiful trout rainbow that Richard Lee caught. Now he fishes down below the dam, and that water temperature is usually in the 60s coming out of that deep water at Beaver. And so they take their parties down there. It's actually Richard Lee Custom Adventure Guide Service. That's what it is, he and Lisa. And they take their people down there on those float trips. Boy, they catch a lot of trout. I mean a lot of trout. And once in a while walleye, once in a while striped bass. So if you want a good float trip down below Beaver, guy, Custom Adventure Guide Service. Good going, Richard Lee. That was a great photo. Okay, let's go on over to Table Rock. Today, that water temperature this morning was around 84 degrees. And some people say the fishing's real tough. Other people have been getting into them. That's just the way it goes in August. You get into a little bit of a topwater bite in the morning. Pop-Rs are working. Sometimes they'll hit that spook. And then you want to get out on those deep gravel points. We say it every day on the program, every week. But get out there. You have to hunt for them with your electronics. They may be down 35, 40 feet of water. Drop shot fishing's been good. Don't overlook a little bit shallower, especially if we have some overcast this weekend, which we could. Shaky head, Ned rig, they'll do the trick as well. Some people have been pitching some docks and brush piles and are still catching some nice quality fish up the James River arm on that 10-inch plastic worm. So let's go out to Roman Carr. He's been going out every week trying to beat his wife 27-inch walleye. He couldn't get them to bite the other day, so look at these beautiful bass that he caught. Good going, Roman. You're going to catch a big walleye before the season's over. I know you will. Good looking bass, my friend. Mike Kennedy was out. Man, you talk about some good fish. A good fish. Mike Kennedy picked up this nice, he's a chummer, just like Roman. Beautiful. Look at this smallmouth bass. That is a dandy out on Table Rock just a few days ago. Good going, Mike Kennedy. And so the bass, like I said, on deep water pattern, a little bit of a top water pattern. They've been flipping jigs, flipping Texas rigs, plastic worms in some of the brush piles, but they are catching fish out there. And some people are having a hard time, but others get right into them. That's like one morning the bass will be hitting on top, the next day they won't even look at it. That's what we call fishing, that's right. Nick Smith was out the other day in the upper end of James River. And look at these nice catfish that our old chummer Nick Smith got into. Good going, Nick. Good eating there. Good evening. Catfish fillets tonight in the old frying pan. All right, a few crappie are being caught at Table Rock, a few off the docks, but I tell you what, over the deep water, I'd say 20, 25 feet of water over the structure. Old pole timber, our brush piles. Minnows seem to be better than jigs, or tip a jig with a minnow and vertically fish it, that's for sure. A few fish, like I said, coming off the docks, but not real great. A few white bass are coming up, but it has slowed down without a doubt. And the walleye fishing has been a little touch and go again this week. They're picking up a few, mainly up that James River arm, and going up and hitting the points and the flats connected to the points, down around anywhere from 18 to 25 feet of water. A jig and night crawler are bottom bouncers and night crawlers with a little spinner. Once in a while the boys are trolling like a flicker shad or a flicker minnow. So Table Rock looks pretty good. There's some nice bass can be caught out there, and once in a while a walleye and a few crappie. Okay, let's go out to Lake Taneycomo. The water temperature out there this morning was 55 degrees. That's not too bad. All that cold water coming out of the Table Rock Dam. They haven't been running a whole lot of water at times, but when they do, drift fishing, night crawler. Same old story I've been talking about for the last few weeks. Get yourself a night crawler, just a night crawler rig, just a split shot with a little gold crappie hook. That's all it takes. Half a night crawler. Just put enough split shot on there to bounce it off the bottom and drift with that current. When you don't have a current, go back to the small jig, 2-pound test, no more than 4, and a little 32nd or 64th ounce. Now, if they're not running any water at all, I'll go to the 64th ounce jig. I like that cinnamon, and I like that brown with a little bit of chartreuse, maybe a blackened chartreuse, as I mentioned. And when they have just a little current, I'll go to the 64th ounce. When they don't have no current, I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. 2-pound test, light line, light rod. Throw that 64th ounce jig out, let it fall, let it fall. Oh, when you get that little tick, it can be a lot of fun, I promise you. All right, let's go out to Bull Shoals. Water temperature out there was, I heard 84, then I heard an 86. It's right mid-range. Daniel Chrome, our buddy, he's consistent. I got to say about this guy, I'm going fishing with him one of these days. He gets out there and hits them. He was out over the past weekend, and look at this beautiful photo of some walleye out at Bull Shoals. Now, I think what's happening, I like Bull Shoals at the lower end this time of the year. I like to fish the points, the flats connected to the points, get down there with my electronics and look. I like that Oakland area this time of year. And I'll just kind of cruise back and forth on my electronics. I see any kind of activity, I'm going to go down there. Maybe a bottom bouncer with a little spinner and a night crawler. Maybe I will throw just like an 1/8 ounce jig with a half a night crawler if they're a little finicky. But if I see they're suspended and it's kind of scattered in that area, I don't have nothing against trolling the flicker shad right through there as well. You can pick up some walleye, and like Daniel here, good quality fish without a doubt. Okay, the bass fishing, you know, if it's going to be a bright day, you want to go out deep just like Table Rock, get your drop shots out there, your Ned rigs. If it's going to be a little windy, get up there with some crankbaits on these points and secondary points. Use your electronics, especially if it's bright, clear. Look for schools of shad. Get out there with some swim baits. I did have a good report of some top water fishing a couple of mornings ago out there. It's just like table rock. One day it's good, the other day they won't look at it. But they've been using some spooks and also some pop-Rs, and they've been catching a few nice fish out there on occasion on top water. So don't overlook it this weekend if you go out to Bull Shoals. Take some top water, especially early in the morning. And let's see what else is going at Bull Shoals. You might want to get back in the mouth of the creek arms, use some plastic worms, Texas style plastic worms, and also pitch some jigs as well. All right, let's go out to Stockton. The water temperature out there at Stockton today was 82. I thought last week the reports were down a little bit on Stockton, but they kind of come back. I tell you what, now this is the deal. This is the deal. You're going to go out there this weekend and crappie fish and walleye. Just might as well get used to it. You're going to catch some short fish without a doubt. A lot of short fish wading around to the keeper fish. Let's go to the walleye first. Still the same old story. Points, secondary points. Maybe if you find a hump out there, you can catch some fish. But night crawlers is the key. You can do a drop shot type thing. I like the drop shot night crawlers out there for walleye. You can use some bottom bouncers with a little spinner, night crawlers. Other people have been trolling your flicker shads, catching some fish on occasion. But again, some short fish. But you're going to I think you'll have a chance of picking up some keeper fish as well out at Stockton. They're still going, boy, I tell you what. Let's see. Now the crappie, they're suspended. There's no doubt about that. There's crappie out there around some timber and brush, and they've been pushing and pulling live minnows, catching crappie. Other people have been doing the bandits and the crankbaits, pushing and pulling, picking up some crappie. Other people have just been getting out there vertically fishing the brush piles. Catch a lot of small fish, but you can catch some keepers out there as well. I understand the white bass surfacing out there is not as good as it has been, but boy, it's always fun. It's always looking into. You want to look into it in the evening hours. And they have been picking up some bass off the points out there, especially if you can find the points, the secondary points with some brush piles down around 15, 18, 20, 25 feet or water. Use a Texas style plastic worm. I heard grape was real good, and a red plastic worm out there. Might check that out at Stockton. Boy, there's been some nice bass caught at Stockton here recently. Let's go out to, in fact, let's see, Nadine Bush was out the other day. I want to show you this beautiful walleye that Nadine caught just a few days ago. So she's showing you, hey, yes, we're still picking up some nice quality keepers out here at Stockton. Nadine, good going, good photo. Justin Holder was going out. He was out the other day and picked up this beautiful bass out at Stockton. Man, they have caught some really nice bass the last few weeks out at Stockton. Good going, guys. Good going. All right, let's go out at Pomme de Terre. Corey Lafferty was out the other day, our buddy that usually fishes over at Stockton lot. He said, I'm going to go catch some crappie out at Pomme de Terre, and look at this live well full of nice crappie. Good going, Corey. Nice fish. Now they're catching crappie out there. I understand the lower, more of the lower 1/3 of the lake over the brush piles. Just go kind of looking with your electronics, brush pile to brush pile. Say it every week here. Get down there with a minnow or a jigging minnow, vertically fish. You're going to catch some crappie out there. If you keep moving and find the fish, you'll catch them. Good going, Corey, with some nice fish. By the way, the bass fishing's been fair out there in the morning hours. A little bit of a topwater bite, and they've been pitching Texas-style plastic worms in some of the brush piles. And if you have a little bit of wind up on the points and secondary points, don't overlook that crankbait out at Pomme de Terre. Let's go out to Truman Lake. My golly, by the way, Pomme was 83 degrees out there this morning. Truman Lake, 84, right in that range. I want a tip of the hat to Daryl Anderson Guide Service. Boy, I want to show you this photo here. Good going, Daryl. He gets his people in the fish all the time. A great guide out there, his guide service. And he said he was catching those fish on the flats in about 10 feet of water, and they may be down about halfway to 8 feet, just right off the bottom. So beautiful stringer of fish, good amount of fish. Daryl Anderson Guide Service out at Truman. And we want to back this up with another guide, Kyle Beckerman. He was out with his beautiful guide service. He's been getting his people in the fish all week. And look at this table full of crappie that he got his people into the other day. Man, now that will get your crappie fishing fever up. So Kyle, hey Kyle, and your great guide service out there, good going. You're doing your people a real good service out there, this is for sure. Now they're still on the flats. They're still on the flats, just like Darren said. They may be in 10 feet of water. They may be down halfway, 5 feet, 8 feet, just right off the bottom. They've been doing the old road beds. They've been doing the old tree rows, the sunken tree rows, the old sunken brush piles, maybe some in some of the cedar trees. Any structure, just ease up there with your electric motor, ease up there and just start vertically fishing these structures with a jig and minnow. And boy, look at these guys. I know you can catch some fish out there, some crappie this weekend. And I've heard all arms of the lake has been producing some crappie this week. Get out there and try it out at Truman. By the way, they've been picking up an occasional walleye down in the KK Island area and off the points. And I've heard of a few hybrids being caught down by the dam. So check that out. Catfishing's been good on some of the flats out there on cut shad at Truman. Sounds like a good place to be this upcoming weekend. Let's go out to Lake of the Ozarks. It was 83 to 84 degrees on the surface this morning. I want to tip the hat to my good friend Jordan. Son out the other day. Look at this photo number 1. Look at this. His first fishing trip. Man, that young man, he's going to be a fisherman. There's no doubt about it. He couldn't have a better guide and a better guy than Jordan and his mama taking him fishing. Look at the second photo. Look at this nice blue cat she caught on that trip. They caught several fish on shad at the upper end, I think, of Lake of the Ozarks. Good going, crew. Gosh darn you, you guys are great. That's a good looking young man there, Sierra. Okay, also at Lake of the Ozarks, Aaron Frederick was out the other day. I want to show you this picture. He was at the upper end of the Osage as well, and he was crappie fishing around some of the docks, I believe. And look at this beautiful crappie that he caught. Good going, Aaron. Really nice fish. By the way, that was, I think I said it was 84 degrees out of Lake of the Ozarks. Now they have been shooting some docks this week at Lake of the Ozarks, catching crappie. And they've been mainly working the shady side of the docks. Other people have been going on the points and secondary points that have brush piles on them and getting down there and picking up some crappie. And other people have been spider rigging, pushing and pulling crankbaits or minnows catching crappie. Quite a few crappie caught this week out at Lake of the Ozarks. Good catfishing, blue catfishing towards that upper end and that Osage arm as well. Mainly on cut shad. All right, let's wrap this rascal up. Let's go out to Norfork Lake. It was 86, a little warmer out there, 86 degrees. And that lake is still about 10 feet high. And I tell you what, somebody asked me also, what is how high is Bull Shoals Lake? I'm reluctant to tell you this, but it's like still about 18 feet high out at Bull Shoals. But Norfork, 86 degrees, 10 feet high. And the big thing out there right now is kind of consistent is the walleye fishing down around 20, 25 feet of water. And they've been using some spoons, but boy, just tip like an 1/8 ounce night crawler, a jig head with a night crawler and get down there and vertically fish some of these brush piles. You could catch your limit of walleye out at Norfork this weekend. And they've been having some pretty good top water fishing on bass out there again this week. They've been using spooks and also pop-Rs, and they've been catching some fish after that top water run is over down in the brush piles off the points, secondary points brush piles on plastic worms, Texas-style plastic worms. If you have a little bit of wind out there, don't overlook maybe throwing a crankbait out on some of the points. Now, that's all these lakes, too, that you're going to this weekend. If you have some wind on these points, secondary points, Table Rock, Bull Shoals, whatever, Norfork, do not overlook throwing some crankbaits. The crankbait bite has been fairly good. Okay, and wrapping it up, they are still picking up some stripers out at Norfork, mainly at the lower end of the lower third of the lake. and they've been catching some fish on spoons and also live shiners out there. That's about it for the day. Don't overlook our photo roll coming up, our fishing photo roll. We got some great photos this week, and I want to thank you all for being here. Once again, for you people watching us over on YouTube, thank you for sticking with us on YouTube. Everybody kind of went over to Facebook, but there's still a few of you over there watching. That's good. If you want to send us any photos, go to our email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. And be sure to share and like and share, whatever. And Kathy, put her up there. Bingo, subscribe. All of our people over on Facebook, God bless you. I want to invite you to join our group. We have over 3,000 people that's joined our group already. Wow, that's been fast. And if you join our group, we kind of have discussions. We show each other photos. We talk about fishing information. And this is the best way to get photos to us, is go to our group, put your photos on our group page, and we'll get them right on here without a doubt. And don't forget, guys, be sure to tell me the lake that you're on when you catch these fish. Some people just send in pictures and I don't know where they come from, what lake. Be sure to do that. And so be sure to like and share us. On Facebook, we have thousands of people every week watching us on Facebook. God bless you. Well over 15,000 a week. That's amazing. So thank you very much. Well, that's about it for the day. We have some cool weather coming in next week. Oh boy, I'm talking about low to mid 80s. I'm going fishing, and if I don't see you on the lake this weekend or next week, I'll see you right back here next week, right here on Fishing Chums. God bless you all. Kathy, roll those photos.